The beautiful thing is that you can do so much. The problem is that people either hold on to an old model of how things have worked, and that model is holding on to that model makes them unable to see what else is either possible or how you can adapt to a different model or create your own model and have success within that.
And it's scary, right? It's scary to look at something and to see that unknown. And then to say to yourself, well, you know what? In this unknown, I'm going to make my own model. I'm going to construct my own paradigm. I'm going to find my own way to do this. As someone who is doing that, who did that during the pandemic and who's doing that now, who are some people that you listen to really solidify that frame and have that mindset down? It's a hard thing to do, and it's something that goes beyond the arts. I think. I mean, I'm sure musicians can use it and creatives can use it, but
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I do want to touch on something you just said. Like, it's scary to do that. Why is it scary? Would be my question.
I think for me, when I think of things, it's always easier to say, "Oh, so and so did it this way, so now what I can do is I can graph that. So there's a way forward, or there's a set way to go forward. It's easier to see, right? When you're looking at the unknown and it's a blank canvas, that's where you realize, okay, well, anything can happen. It's almost like you're composing. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at a blank sheet of paper and you're like, I can go anywhere I want with this. In a way, that's often scary because, depending on how you're coming about it, if you have this binary relationship between mistakes and failures, no, or I should say failure, success, binary relationship, it can be very, very daunting, right? So if you take that binary relationship and you apply that to life in general, and you add the stressors and the worries of, well, you know what, I fuck this up, I'm not gonna eat. Well, if you know what, I fuck this up, I'm gonna be homeless. It can create a situation that can be very scary. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking.
Totally. I agree. But I wanted to hear that because that's the thing that's important, and it also ties into my response to this is I have I have a creative coach and someone that's helped me through my creative process and also is helping me with my business. His name is Mike Monday. He's a just brilliant, brilliant man. And he challenges me so much, and he'll take things I say, and as a coach, and he'll challenge these notions, and he'll do exactly what I did to you. You scary. What does that mean? What do you mean? He doesn't have that voice, but I'm making it up. The and he will deconstruct the idea. So if I deconstruct what you just said, what I heard was it's scary because it hasn't been done before,
Right.
right? I can take someone else's thing and apply it and like add my twist to it, but I know it works because someone else had success in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it it is a scary thing when you add the fact like this is how you eat, or maybe some people have the additional factor of a family, right? So they got children to feed, or they are maybe the primary breadwinner. Um, you have bills to pay. Like all that does factor into making not the right decisions, but making the decision that makes the most sense for you economically at the time. And I think this applies. I mean, we're talking about creatives here. So as a creative, this is the thing that we struggle with a lot. Like, what am I going to do? What can I do to make money and do my art? The ideal is you make money from your art and you got the best of both worlds. Even that has its challenges, but that's the ideal that I think most of us as performers want to have. Another way to look at it is you have a job that supports your bills, and then you can still do your art. The third way of doing it is you have like the Medici family to Michelangelo. Right? You have a family of wealth or somebody that basically is a patron of the arts and supports you in that way. These models are also discussed in The Gift by, and I'm looking at the book, Lewis Hyde. It's a thick, really thick book about how do business and arts collide? When they collide, what happens? Um, but those really are the three main ways that we have three main ways of making money as artists, right? Of making a living. And so it's tough for us to look at different models One, when there's nobody there that's challenging us and saying, actually, there is something different and it is possible to make money. I experienced that for the first time. Like YouTube is like now a thing, or it was a thing a few years ago. But like 8 years ago, I was the tour DJ for Daystorm, huge social media guy now on Instagram. But at the time, he was the #1 subscribed MC on YouTube. And I was doing the Digi tour with him and all these other people who were making money off of YouTube. And I was like, what is this? Like literally, what? Like one of my friends was like, dude, he has more Facebook likes on his page than Daft Punk. Who is this guy? Yeah. So this was in 2012, 2011, 2012. And I got exposed to people that were doing this for a living. I had no idea that this was possible. But then that opened me up to like, oh, there's this whole world, right? I remember Friday, Rebecca Black. Do you remember that song?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That broke during that time. Oh. And I remember that there was a couple YouTubers that were breaking down why it was so successful. Crazy to hear these conversations, right?
Because it was incredibly successful. You know, it was like, it was a running joke, but everyone knew that song.
Everybody knew the song, right?
There's nothing to joke about, you know?
Right. And like the whole legal battle that ensued with like Rebecca Black and the guy that made the song, the guy, I guess, like had a business where you can come in, like he'll write a song for you, you pay for it, and it's like yours, right? So then it blew up and they're like, well, who owns the song at that point? Right? Is it the guy? Like they co-wrote it? Is it hers because she paid money? And right. So it was a whole thing. And then they were talking about part of the reason of the song's success, that it was the people making covers of the song make people want to click back and hear the original. And that was part of the reason why the video blew up so quick. So quick side note, but you know, if you're interested, take a listen. But that's like exposure to something different is super important. That's why when you say scary, it's not scary when you've seen somebody else do it, because now you have a model for how it works. When you are tasked with making your own model, then it's the fear of failure is huge. Now, what is failure, right? We see failure as, we take it as a personal thing. I messed up, I'm horrible, I'm the worst, yada, yada, yada. Like it's, our self-worth is attached to us either succeeding or failing at something. But is it really? That's the question. I've recently been able, also with the help of Mike, right? Like been able to reframe what failure is. Failure is really nothing more than data. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Failure tells you what doesn't, failure just shows that this thing you did in this way doesn't work. So when you do it again, don't do that. Make these adjustments for the next time. And when we start seeing failure as just a data collecting tool of the thing that we're trying to do, then we take a step forward toward making the thing we want to do happen. And when you are at the edge of the unknown and pushing for the next thing, in creating your own model, like that's when things really start to happen.